Hello, this is the voice of Stuart Pearce, and welcome to Deep Dialogues, a series of vital conversations that I have with global soul stewards from all over the world who provide us with an understanding of how we can create a new hierarchy of values that is absolutely significant at this unique time of becoming. I hope you enjoy, and thanks for listening. Well, am I pleased? I'm sitting here with the wonderful Radleigh Valentine, but at the same time, everybody, guys and gals, all you wonderful people who are tuning in, I know you're all chomping at the bit for the extraordinary nature of what Radleigh is going to be sharing with us. And we've just been having a pre-show chat, and he is up to hijinks. So we are going to be experiencing a lot of fun, particularly about a new life that he's started, because he and his wonderful life partner have moved into a new life in California. Hello, Isabel, Robin. That's all my names. Daniela, Brigitte, Star Sign Designs, all the way from, is it Oriona in California? So you have your neighbor, Stacy, Austin, Sarah, Paulden, Pat. Lots and lots of people tuning in, especially for you. And I know there'll be more people joining us and asking all sorts of interesting questions. So for the officialdom of Deep Dialogues, and for the benefit of those people, hello, Stephen, Pat, for those people who don't know this wonderful gentleman, Radleigh Valentine. I think the name itself is just so wonderfully romantic. Radleigh is one of the best-selling Hay House authors who has inspired audiences in countries around the world with the angelic messages of pure love and unconditional support. He is an author of 8 card decks, including the best-selling Angel Wisdom Tarot cards and Angel Answer Oracle cards. His books, Manifesting Your Magical Life and Compendium of Magical Things, offers rare insights, exhilarating lessons about how to manifest a life of your dreams. Notice, he is a person who dwells in the very substance of magic. And so you will find, as a result of his unique tutelage, you will find your own unique language for communicating with the divine. As an international spiritual teacher and speaker, Radleigh has appeared at the Angel World Summit in London, at the Engelkongress in Germany. That's great fun, isn't it? I've done that. In Austria, Switzerland, I could go on and on and on and on. More than 12 Hay House I Can't Do It events, which are always really radical. And Radleigh's teachings are a robust line of courses which you can find on his website, which of course is www.radleighvalentine.com, but don't click on there now. Stay with us, and you will see that he infectiously enchants his audiences with the message that each and every one of our lives is, very simply, pure magic. Welcome, my dear brother. How wonderful to see you.
Why am I blushing? I think I'm blushing because Stuart Pearce just talked about me. Now I'm blushing. So
you see that what I do is I use quite a lot of superlatives because I feel it's superlative, excellent and wonderful and delightful and infectious, all of these wonderful words that that lead us into the kingdom of light, don't they? Through magic and miracles and imagination, help us to feel our creativity is working. And if we can actually stimulate this wonder now, coming out of the unprecedented global crisis of COVID, what else can we do? And I know that you breathe this and you pulse this and you dream this and you think this and you live this and you communicate this to people all over the world. Radleigh, where did it all start?
Oh, goodness. I mean, I had my first little connection with the angels when I was 5. And what what made that work and be beautiful was a mother that believed me. Having, because we're part Cherokee, which is a Native American tribe, and so it's, being raised for me was like, oh, here's the Christian part and here's the Cherokee mysticism part. You figure it out. And the having a mom that was just so like, always trust this, always believe in it, that was really helpful. I also think that having a very difficult upbringing, a very challenging road to go, all of those challenges, all of those difficulties, all of that pain really like was just such a great way to steal my mettle, to like bring me to the place where I could be the person that I am, because the other thing that my mother instilled in me was faith. And faith is very powerful. And so, all of that, it really was the horrible stuff that brought me to the place where I could fully embrace the beautiful stuff. And releasing organized religion, because I didn't fit in it anyway, and which allowed me to like embrace the angels, which allowed me to like further that connection, which allowed me to become obsessed with alternate spirituality in a way that, over time just led me to the place of, okay, we've done the accountant thing, and I'm glad I did the accountant thing. I do not.
You mean you were a professional accountant?
Oh, yes. Right. I'm a recovering certified public accountant. I am.
So, I mean, the take that I have on that is after a challenging beginning, as you were saying, but fortunately grounded, secured by a loving mother who shone a light into the possibility of what faith means. Yeah. So although socially there was a lot of chaos, which pained you very deeply within, as is true, and I know there are lots and lots of empaths who are tuning in, where we're really beginning to endorse what it is to be an empath and to understand that it is a superpower. But earlier in our lives, we often are born into a world of such cruelty and chaos that it's really, really difficult. But it gives us an opportunity, as you were saying, of stealing our mettle, of developing the spiritual muscles. And one of the greatest one is belief, faith, and trust. So you were led there. But numbers became really significant for you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just accidentally became an accountant. And by the time I figured out where I was headed, it was too late. So, I did it, and it was good for me. And it honed a lot of skills that I'm glad that I still have. But eventually we come to this place where we understand that that was a phase. People used to go, oh, Radleigh, it's like in school, people might have said, oh, Radleigh, he thinks he's gay. It's just a phase. No, that wasn't a phase. What was the phase was the accountant. That was a phase. And once I came to this place where it was like, oh, I can't do this anymore, and it's not what I want to do. Really what set me on the path was my partner at that time knew that I was going to the ocean with my brothers, and he gave me a book, and the book was called Born Knowing by John Holland. And it turned me upside down. It just did that. And, and I'd already been reading. I'd read Neil Donald Walsh, and that turned me upside down, and other things. But that book was like, that's it. That's what I'm doing. There really is a Hogwarts. It's called Arthur Findlay, and I'm going to go. And I never did. But that in and of itself, really set me into motion. I started taking classes, and I took classes from all kinds of people. The first class being from John Holland, and I just took all kinds of classes, and I tried out mediumship, and I stuck my finger in that and that and this and that and that over there, until I was like, no, it's really angels and it's really tarot. That's what was like, okay, this is my personal language of the divine. This is what lights me up, and this is what I want to do. And it didn't happen overnight. It took a little while.
Well, it does. I mean, we're given Earth years to explore, aren't we? That's why our lives are this long. I met somebody today who's 193 years of age.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, who's a Tibetan monk. So we have long lives. He was talking about his childhood, and I was just considering the childhood that was then. You just have to do it.
It's like, so you were here when
way back. However, we're given these long lives to experience it all, to develop our capacity. So actually, the systematology of signs and symbols are very akin to the nature of numerology, aren't they? I mean, I know you were dealing with ipso facto detail in the character figures, accountancy, adding up, etc., etc. But we all know that numbers organize the chaos.
Right. Yeah, I know. I am a symbolism nerd like no other. I am just like, I eat that for breakfast. It's in my cards. It's in everything I do. It's like, it's in every moment of my life. It's there. Nothing can happen that I don't go, what was that?
Yeah.
So, and I love that. I love that thing that happens, and especially when they hit you over the head with it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, here it is, and here it is, and here it is, and here it is, and here it is again. And what else do you need? And it's like, nothing, I'm good. I got it.
You're pinging between left and right brain. What's the most sensation-based, sensational or extraordinary hit when they've hit you on the head thing that's happened?
Well, I mean, just a quick example of just the most recent thing is that one of the very challenging things that happened when we moved cross country is suddenly, unexpectedly and very, very quickly, we lost one of our dogs. He exited stage left. I think he just didn't want to go, and that's okay. But we weren't expecting it, and we didn't see it coming. And so it was very traumatizing to us. It was very traumatizing to our little girl who did come with us. And so we've had some time. It was last July. It's had some time, and we're concerned about our girl Riley. We need another dog. And so someone sent me something and said, oh, there's a sheltie that's within 80 miles of you. There are no shelties within 2,000 miles of me from where I live. That's why I was like, immediately went on. The dog's name is Diamond. Now, you know why that would be significant, right? Because that's what my husband does. He does diamonds. But by the time I got to her, she had so many reservations that they wouldn't even let me meet her. And so I thought, well, maybe I should get a puppy. I don't know. And so over the last 2 days, I was starting to explain to a friend of mine about this situation. And a song came on the radio called Diamonds. At the very same moment, a truck pulled out behind us that said Diamond Trucking Company. To the left of us was a car that said, and their license plate said Rare Gem. And the car next to that one said Senior Dog. Those were their license plates. And I'm like, okay, I got it. It's like, maybe it wasn't that dog, but it's that website. That's where we're going to get our next dog. Just be patient. So to me, that's the like, do you need anything else, or are you clear? It's like, I'm clear. I will wait. I will be patient. No puppies.
So, I mean, you're able to read the richness of that menu.
Oh my God, I loved every single drop of that.
Our listeners possibly are hearing the information, but not necessarily feeling the map. So could you just give us what it led you to? The symbols and the signs were cosmic humor, but at the same time led you to a specific reality.
Yes, it did. Because what it did was, it's like, because I was starting to pursue puppies. And so to me, none of that needed to happen. I did not need to know that there was a dog named Diamond that I didn't get. That was fine. She was just the carrot, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and for me, it was like, okay, I'm starting to go this way. And the universe is like, no, 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 no. We sent you to this website where there was a dog named Diamond. Stay on the website. Wait for the adoption dog. That's what's coming. And so it's like, and literally, as my friend was returning to Phoenix, he was getting in the car and the song Diamond started playing again. So it's like, okay, I already said yes. I have it. So to me, it's like being awake to the magic of the universe, to the messages from the angels. That's what really makes life magical. It's like, if you can stay awake, and that's what we do wrong. We fall asleep. We go into a haze. We like get up in the morning and we take the kids to school and we go to work and we start the day by saying, "Dear angels, please give me messages," and then we don't listen. And then, they're like, "Oh, here's your coffee was $4.44, and there's a white feather on the ground when you get out of your car at work." And and all of these messages come to us, and we're just not paying attention. And then we come home at the end of the day and go, "The angels let me down." And it's like, stay awake.
And so give us a few, I mean, I'm completely with you, of course, but suddenly you've frozen. Are you still with me? Yes, you still are. There was that wonderful moment where we were sharing before we came onto air, so to speak, where you were talking about the nowness of now and how crucial it
Mhm.
is.
Yes.
So I'm seeing the marriage between what you've just shared with us and the real substance of now. To be aware is to be present. What do you expound on or extol about this nature of becoming aware?
I For me, I mean, it's like, if you need to put Post-it notes all over your house, do it. If you need to like send yourself emails and texts, do it. Something, set a timer on your phone, do something that snaps you out of it, that snaps you out of the illusion of this reality that is like that life is going to work and coming home and all this sort of stuff. Yes, that is the platform. That is the stage upon which we stand in order to be able to experience the magic that is embedded into every single moment. It for me, it's like the last couple of years have been so frantic. It's just been frantic and crazy that it's easy to slip out of that. But over time, I have taught myself nothing. Well, I shouldn't say nothing. I'm not perfect, or I would ascend. But it's like I'm not. But almost nothing misses my gaze. It's like when the angels send a message, or I get it, I see it. And sometimes I dismiss things. It's like, okay, was that something? And it's like, maybe not. If it happens again, then yeah, it is. But if white feathers, 444, all of the angels, all the symbols that are the angels, for me, have faded away from the standpoint of 444 means that the angels are with you. Yeah, you know what? I got that memo. I know that. So for me, 444 is more like a message when I see it that basically says, you are worrying over stupid stuff. We have this handled. And so in being able to assimilate what messages are, you have to, you can take what other people tell you that those messages mean. That's great. It's like learning a language. It's like if you take French, don't go learn the slang first, figure out French. Then you can learn the slang. And if for me, it's like, okay, I understand that 444 used to mean that, but now 444 means something else to me. And you have to be able to develop what these messages mean to you. And so staying in the now, part of that is not just the now of reality so that you can live your life, because there is no past and the present isn't here yet. There's only now. So if you want to live a magical life, be in the now. But also being in the now is staying awake to what you're being told to guide you. I could have easily gone off the path to go get a puppy and the chaos that ensues with a puppy, but I was getting desperate. My angels are like,
What,
do not be
what
desperate.
particular signposts or what skills do you use to remind yourself of the nowness of now?
Well, I mean, what I used to do, well, and even now I do. It's like I printed out the word now with a beautiful background, and it's everywhere. It's my wallpaper on my Mac. It's on my mirror in my room. It's like it's just everywhere around me to help me. But the problem with that is, as we as human beings, we start to we start to just go, oh, I know that's there on the mirror, and now I'm not even noticing anymore. You got to move it around. It's like anything. It's like if you really want to learn to play the piano, practice, and if you really want to stay awake to the now, practice. And I think that for me, these messages are so precious. These messages are so important, and they have brought me so much joy that for me, it's like I covet them. I crave them. I want them. And so if the thing that you crave most in the world is ice cream, you're going to notice every ice cream shop between here and where you're going. For me, what I crave is that interaction with the angels and the guidance that it comes to me, because I want to be happy. I want to live a joyful life, and that's how you do it.
So you're setting up an intention, and also you're bringing huge conviction to that intention, desire. I want to have this quality of relationship with the angels. I want to have this quality of relationship with the rich signs and symbology of the world, which we're beginning to see as the interface between the seen and the unseen worlds. At the same time, you're talking about a sensory experience. So there must be, apart from the desire of the feeling body and the intention of the thought of the thinking body, there must be also moments where you just allow yourself to feel stillness.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I love that you use the word conviction. That's that. And now I have a new word that I'm going to throw around when I'm talking about this, because that is true. It is a conviction to that way of life. But if you ask me what my favorite emotion is, my favorite emotion is awe. That is my favorite emotion. I love awe more than anything.
And then,
huh?
And then second?
What's my second favorite emotion?
If the first one is awe, the second is?
Joy. Laughter. Yeah.
That's why I like you see. Because for me, wonder and awe are the gateways to the mystical pathway, because as soon as the wonder and the awe are there, I mean, I always remember at the age of about 6 being taken to the theatre for the first time by my dear, dear, dear darling mother, who was also like yours, my securing device. And of course, I was bewildered by, where are we? What is this? And I remember saying as the curtain was about to rise, because the curtains rose in those days. Today we go to the theatre and often the set is completely open and there isn't a moving curtain. Right. However, I remember saying to my mother, "Mummy, where are we?" And she said, "Shh, we're in a place of magic." Oh. And so I was hooked. It had to be a dispensation of wonder and awe and the delight, the joy that comes. And so this electricity are the wonderful spurring mechanisms for conviction, which I see as being a force multiplier. We can have lots of ideas, but unless we bring conviction to them, and obviously your passion, your wonder, your awe brings conviction to something that allows you to tumble forth into the wonders of what you've created, particularly over the last 25 years.
Yeah. I mean, to me, awe is the bringer of remembering of how wonderful who we truly are is. To me, it's like the best way I can explain it is, and I don't even know if I ever have before, but it's a temporary moment of a lifting of the veil of illusion to reconnect with the us on the other side, to remember the unrememberable joy of what it is like to tumble out of this illusion of a lifetime back into the arms of the divine, of who we truly are. And so for me, awe just does that. It's just like, I just, for a split second, I remember. And because I'm just addicted to that feeling, it doesn't happen very often. I wish it happened more, but I truly believe that my angels know that's my carrot. They know. They're like, if we want to get him, throw all at him. And it's just everything. It's just everything.
So are you getting this, folks? By the way, I don't know if you can actually see the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen. There's private chat and then comments. If you click on comments, you can see the chat box.
Hi, people.
Okay. There are people. If there are any questions that you want to ask, hi, Michael, Agnieszka, Heniek, all these wonderful people, Ashita, Robin, I know, Akko, Yolanda, etc., etc. If there are any questions you want to ask, don't hesitate. So can you see what Radleigh is actually saying? That you can feel, and I think Robin made yes, I love how Radleigh placed his hands together, and which look like angel wings. What you see, so unconsciously, his whole behavioral process, all his body language is geared towards angelic congress and countenance. You see, he does it completely. So if there are any questions you want to ask, I know that you're using the chat box to record what you're also thinking and feeling, but we have a world expert sitting here, dare I say 2 world experts. So don't hesitate to ask him questions. So as I was saying, wonder and awe are the 2 gateways into the mystical pathway. And there is all of this delight and love flowing out for you, which allows you to feel a conviction and passion about your existence. And of course, very recently, you've moved home and moved state, which you guys can do very easily in the United States, although you've been living, as we all have, under the duress of COVID over the last 2 years. And you were talking about the resettlement there and how all of the signs are bubbling up for you to lead you there. Has it been an easy move?
No. No. It was I think that the last year has been as akin to me and my husband having PTSD as anything that I have experienced that I can remember. It was a really, really hard year. And my husband went through some serious physical challenges. So he was on his back for 7 months. We had 2 dogs. We lost one suddenly he got cancer. We beat it back. He was healed just so he could get something else that was worse and pass away. We moved to this new town, and to our utter astonishment, our little girl dog, Riley, got away from Lee, and she was lost for 18 hours. We thought she was gone. We thought we were going to we were destroyed. Getting here, setting things up, knowing not a soul. It was really, really difficult, and we are still struggling. But the thing about that is that I just always look back, and I had a really challenging upbringing as a little gay boy who outed himself at 6 years of age and had to live with that for his entire school thing. And and I can look at that. I can look at the abusive father. I can look at all of the horrible things that happened in that moment and that during that time. And I can look at it now and go, look at all the wonderfulness that came from that. And so even though, you know, we're still sort of like trying to get past the trauma of the last year, I still sit in the place of faith that there was a reason for it all. It was supposed to happen. There is that we will understand it in time. And when we understand it, there will be awe. When we understand it, there will be that sense of, I know why that happened, and I now embrace the experience, and we will heal from it, and it will be okay. So it was really hard. I wouldn't undo it. But you know, it was a hard year. The thing that when people, because everybody in the world is challenged right now for one reason or another, and some of it's global challenge and some of it's not. But what you have to do is you have to find that place of faith. You have to find that space where you understand that the divine adores you. It loves you. It thinks you're the cutest little sweetie pie it ever saw in its entire life. And the universe wants you to find joy. And we are here to experience things good and bad, but the ultimate destiny, the ultimate place that we are going is joy. When we get to the other side, or whether we're still here, and if you can find that faith, if you can find that space where you believe that and you just hold on to it and you never let it go, then you can get through whatever is going on in your life that is difficult and challenging, and you can grow from it in a way that will make your life better. So
you know, you prefaced all of this understanding of faith with the challenges that you experienced,
yeah.
and I can feel all of our heartstrings being plucked by your story, you know, because you are a love, you are a sensitive, and we feel you immediately because you are very immediate with your.
Yeah.
But what's interesting in those moments is that you always see the light through the darkness, your
I
faith.
do.
And so how, you know, when the shit hits the fan, you know, when, for example, there you were uprooting your home and you've been living in the same place for some time to move to
Yes.
California, right? And then your little dog dies. And so our hearts weep. We literally weep. But what in those moments do you do in the crises that then allows you to see the light?
I think what I'm going to say, Stuart, is I'm just freaking stubborn. I'm just I'm just stubborn about that conviction. Told you I was going to use that word. I'm stubborn about it. It's because I think that if I don't have that conviction that it will be okay, if I don't have that conviction that there is meaning to it all, that then I will break. And I refuse to break.
Right.
I refuse, and I, you know, for your astrologers who are watching, I am quintuple Sagittarius. I am the poster child for Sagittarius. If you go into Sagittarius headquarters, my picture is behind the desk of the reception area. So Sagittarius really is a sign of faith. And I just have it. So it's like I still remember laying on the floor sideways, looking into Jace's eyes, knowing I had only hours left with him. And for a while, that was a memory that would flash into my mind, and I would crumble. But there was a moment where I said, I do not want to forget that. I don't want to forget it. I don't want to release it. It was a soul to soul moment. He, and I don't want to forget the pain that makes me strong.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
just don't. I don't want to forget it. I don't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. For me, it's a blessing. I wrote this yesterday. We need to sit on the rim of the well of darkness and fish for the fallen light within with patience and passion.
I think that's gorgeous.
I
And
sent it to you later. We understand. We more than understand. We completely empathize with the moments that you've just shared with us. But what's so beautiful as you move into the cavern of grief, which is a deep abyss, as we all know, if we really allow ourselves to go in it, what you're always doing is measuring the light up there, even though you're falling and falling and falling. You keep your eye on the light. You say it's stubbornness. I feel it's your warriors, it's your spiritual warrior strength, which is the conviction of what belief is, that you just go back there. Because that wherever you're going one knows wherever one's going in the darkness, that all conditions are temporary, that this will come to an end. Do you remember those moments as a child, weeping those hot tears of grief? And then suddenly there was this complete stillness, and the terrible waves had stopped. They're the moments that I always remember when I'm going through my gut-wrenching, heart-quaking times, like what you were describing.
No, I know exactly what you were talking about.
This is the musculature of faith, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
That I know exactly that moment where pain ceases.
Yeah.
And it was definitely part of the beginning of my search for a deep understanding of the angels. Yes. It was a moment just like that when I was like 22, and that moment of being in horrible pain and hearing my angel say it was going to be okay. And it was just this moment of, I know that moment.
Yeah. That's the stillness of the nowness of now that I was wanting to sort of prod slightly, so that we could define it. Just that extraordinary, I hear them speaking, and there's this stillness, and then we hear everything's going to be okay, all conditions are temporary, whatever the words are. Thank you so much for revealing this, because I think you are the number 70 deep dialogue that I've engaged in since the beginning of COVID. It's a magical number.
Yes, it is.
Between the seen and the unseen worlds. But nobody thus far has allowed themselves to embody grief in our presence. So that, for me, was a hallowed moment. It's why I live this. It's why my vocation, my devotion is this quality of service, that we could go there. But now you're smiling. And there's a perfect embodiment process. Can you see what I'm saying, everybody? Because you were watching our conversation, hearing our conversation, and seeing Radleigh rather, be so extraordinarily authentic as he went into that moment, not in fear of what the physiological or neurological or emotional impulses would be. He just went there and then lifted himself back into the light.
You're very kind. Thank you.
Well, I just think it's a work in progress. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's shown us what it is. But actually, as we know in the older paradigm, our roles so often don't allow us to go there, and the more we do through our hearts, I feel the more our world is going to be the evocative process that it is. There are questions coming up.
okay.
Any questions, folks? Anyway, lots and lots of share. Completely resonate. Destroyed, brought, whatever. I'm healing from being in front lines as a nurse. Yeah. So you're all empathizing and identifying, aren't you? Forgive me if I don't read completely. I'm a scan reader. I go really fast. But why is it so easy to see the signs after we needed them? After we needed them? Do we need the signs? They come. They're magic. This is Bridget. Why is it so easy to see the signs after we needed them? How can we make this easier to figure out? It almost feels like a cruel joke, a riddle sometimes.
I'm not sure if I 100% understand the question. I'm just gonna try to interpret it my way.
Well, what's interesting? Now, can I just hover?
Yeah, sure.
Anything. I feel what's happened with darling Bridget is that she's an empath, and she felt the emotional charge of what you were sharing with us, and it's triggered her. And what she's giving us is her perception of the cruelty of pain. And actually that's all the conundrum of riddle. And that's not actually what Radleigh was talking about. Okay, over to you, baby.
Oh. Well, I mean, it's I guess I'm trying to think if I ever really think that life is cruel, and I don't remember ever. Well, no, well, I'll take that back. That's like, as a child, I thought life was cruel. As a teenager, I thought life was cruel. But I was a child and I was a teenager, so it's the older I get, the less inclined I am, no matter how bad things get, to look at it as cruelty. I look at it as, it's like, I mean, with Jace, it's like, or when my mom passed, it's like, the body gives out. It just does. So it's horrible. It's awful. It's the most terrible thing to try to like get through, I think. But it's also almost, for me, it's almost like it's the rules of the game. And when things outside of that margin happen that are difficult and challenging, I just simply refuse to believe. I mean, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it's just, I simply refuse to believe that. I don't believe in a cruel God / divine / source / universe / goddess. I don't care which word you use, but I refuse to do that, because I feel like that whole construct is a human creation. It's a part of the illusion of this reality. And so, can humans be cruel? Yes. And so we try to take that and go, well, then God must be cruel. Well, no. This is like, it's like that for me. I always call it putting God in a box. And so I can't subscribe to that interpretation. I just can't. And so I have to look at it, no matter what, as being, there has to be a reason. will it maybe it will take a while. I mean, I had a thing happen in my life that felt cruel and difficult and challenging. It took 8 years for me to understand why that happened, but when I got it, I was like, bingo, there it is. One of the most important things that ever happened in my life, because that difficult, challenging thing, indirectly, this way, that way, other way, over there, over here, over there, and there, got me my first Hay House contract.
Yes, yes.
And so it's I smile because it's like, that's the place I stay. As a human being, it's like, do I cry about Jace? Cried about him yesterday. Sorry, Troy. But it's like, cried my eyes out about him yesterday. But it's still the space of belief. Literally right before I sat down in this chair, a yellow butterfly flitted across the window. That is our sign from Jace, yellow butterflies. I mean, he's here, you know? So the other thing, though, about, I think maybe also possibly what she might have meant, or something that maybe other people think about, is, why do I not get the signs until after the fact? Well, and if that's part of what she meant, like a sign was presented to her, she didn't catch it, she didn't get it, and after fact, there was a sign, I wish I'd followed it, then something bad wouldn't happen. It's like, that's practice, that's the gym, that's angel gym, right? It's like, okay, you learned something. You learned something that it's like, stay awake. Stay awake. So
that's beautiful. So we're really coalescing so many of the major themes that we've been talking about and bringing it all back into stay awake, be present, live in the now. The difficulty, of course, is that when the tidal waves are moving through us, that we have to give ourselves to them, but they pass, is what we're saying. So time is suspended, and then there's a stillness, and it's in the stillness that we can once more reconnect with the light. The difficulty is, as we know, ladies and gentlemen, that so many people get lost in the darkness, and that's why we can see the world as being a terrain of perpetual cruelty. And in fact, you know, I don't know where you've been in your life, but I do remember, I was talking about it the other day. Was it on air? I can't remember. Maybe it was on air that I shared this. That a job that I had was to go to the Gaza Strip to work professionally with a friend of mine who's a leading international musician. And the idea was, because of his reputation as a musician, that we would bring young Palestinian and young Israeli musicians together. Now, we're talking about sectarian divide and hatred. You know, when I was there, I experienced, you could feel the air cut like a hot knife. And it was hatred. So when they came in, there was this unbelievable hostility. Then they started playing Mozart, because they had to be the young ones. They were all kids of 14, 15, 16, 17. They had to be of a certain quality of musicianship to play with him. That was part of the deal. However, the point is that they were also carrying the wounds of years and years and years of internecine conflict between, as we know, the Israelis and the Palestinians. So the music started to heal them. And then Daniel gave them to me for an hour and a bit, where I could take them through a workshop of introducing them to their note. And as soon as we started sounding our note, our signature note, the song of our soul, that's when the tears came. And we all ended up hugging and loving. And they realized that all of the sectarian divide, all of the ancestral violence and grief and cruelty completely evaporated. Now, for me, that was a window into heaven.
Right. That's your awe.
But, you know, that was all, you know.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean to say that I didn't go back to my hotel and weep for 3 hours.
Right.
Because I knew that I was in the presence of hell, which then allowed me to see heaven. It allowed us all to see heaven. So I hear you. I hear you. I was about to ask, well, in the move, what was the worst thing? But we've got into some of the darker aspects of our experience, your experience and our experience. What was the greatest thing
Yeah,
about the move?
I'm glad you asked, because it would be really easy through all of those challenges to not see the good. And the house that we wound up buying, I believe in the United Kingdom, the housing market's like whacked out in a totally opposite direction than the way it is in the United States. So the United States is a house goes on the market and everybody fights for it, and you get 15 minutes to look at the house, literally, not exaggerating. You get 15 minutes, make your best offer, and everybody bids it up, and it goes for $300,000 over asking, and it's all insanity. And so when Lee and I first saw this neighborhood in 2014, and we loved it, we wanted it. There was a floor plan we wanted. We kept the brochures all this time. We literally, so I went looking, who are the real estate agents who are selling this neighborhood? Lee called them, told him what we wanted. He said, you know what? I have a pocket listing. Do you know what a pocket listing is? That's a secret real estate listing. Nobody knows the house is for sale except the realtor. And so it was in our neighborhood. It was our floor plan that we wanted. We didn't have to fight with anyone. We didn't have to go through a bidding war. We didn't have to do anything. And so we got the house. Lee got transferred in a piece of cake, easy peasy transaction that just doesn't happen where he works, but it happened. And all of this stuff just magically happened. My career went, whew, it went through the roof. And for me, that's joy, because that means I get to do my favorite thing, which is, no, it is not making tarot cards. I love that. That's great. My favorite thing is to teach. And I am so busy I cannot even see straight. It's like my schedule is jam-packed with time, with things that I'm doing. I'm getting to teach new things now, because it's like I'm in control of my own career. I love my event producers from the past, still call me, but it's like I'm my own event producer. I pick what I teach. It's like I got all my power back over the last year and a half.
Right.
And it's like,
right,
wonderful, and my husband went from a high stress, anxiety laden, horrible environment where he would just come home and go grumble, 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 where's the vodka, and to a place where they're just so excited to have him, and they're so excited for his 36 years of knowledge, and they're so excited. And he comes home and he's like, hey sweetheart, I had a good day, where's my little girl, she's right there, I'm gonna change clothes. It's like that was worth anything that we went through that was tough.
Yeah.
Because Lee found peace.
Yes.
And that is invaluable to me. So there was a lot of really great, wonderful things that happened in the last year. But if all we do is, as you say, fall into the deep well of the pain and not look at the light so that we can find our way back, we're just going to sink.
Yeah, I hear you so strongly, and I'm sure everybody who's listening does. And I mean, in these moments that we share, but also the recording will obviously be there for posterity, and many, many people tune in afterwards, because our time frames are often disagreeable with the Southern Hemisphere, as you well know, and, I'm reminded of what this time is, and how we're recording on the 21st of February, and tomorrow is the 22nd of the second month of the year 2022. And of course, we know that's a palindrome. And one of the great things that it's asking us to do, because that is 222222222, which is the 12, which is the hanged man in the tarot, which asks us to, from an upside down position, to look at the world in a different way. And so I believe that the cruelty and the suffering that we're seeing is very much to do with the mythological perspective of seeing within the Christian faith a wounded man hanging on a cross, and that we become fixated with that pain and forgetting about that he rose on the third day. And now what's actually going to take place is that we're transiting into the second coming of Christ consciousness within the galactic splendor, so that we see the resurrected Christ, and thereby we see, as you've so beautifully storyfied for us, there isn't such a word, but I've just made it up, showing what the pain does to us, where you were for a moment racked and you could have gone further, but you ascertained where you were and then showed us where the light was. We move into divine resurrection. So I thank you. I really, really thank you for that. I hope you're all noticing how amazing he is.
Oh, you're so kind. I just have to point out my birthday is 12/12.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So that 12 number energy that's coming, it's
Yeah.
like I'm wearing that.
Yeah. Yeah. And when, you know, your stories are so akin to some of the things that I've shared of how many, many, many years ago, the way that my life as an actor ceased because I was living and working in the US, in New York City, doing extraordinarily well, and then got a movie, was moving to Los Angeles. And because I'd been in New York for about 18 months, and as I was packing up the apartment to move to Los Angeles to become the greatest actor of the 20th century, the television, everything went into this still slow motion. And it was my brother saying, "Are you?" It was almost as though he was talking in this slow down, slurred version of speech. And he said, "You need to know that mum's got terminal cancer. She's got 3 months to live. What are you going to do?" So in that moment, I decided, let go of the movie, although I was in breach of contract. That was something else. That's another story, because I had to honor the impulse of this extraordinary person whom I had this huge soul connection with, moved back to the United Kingdom, nursed her for a year, and then it was time for her to go. And then the whole of my life went zoom again, and huge opportunities. The door opened. I became a voice coach, and within 2 weeks, I was walking into Downing Street to become Margaret Thatcher's voice coach, which, of course, put feathers in my cap, etc., etc. So, out of the extraordinary darkness, there is always transcendence. There is always redemption. Radleigh, this is so extraordinary. It's so wonderful sharing space with you. This has been a fabulous deep dialogue, says Sarah, who is wonderfully, wonderfully attentive, you know, immensely loyal in coming, as is Robin. I don't want today to end. Can we go overtime? No. But he is amazing. I know that we are both amazing, and this is why I've been trying to get Radleigh on for a long time, but it hasn't worked out. And now suddenly he was able to. Tuned in late, but just any questions? Any questions? Hello from Australia. It's great to hear the hope. There aren't any questions. We want questions. Is there anything finally that you would like to share? You've said so much. The nowness of now.
The nowness of now. I think I just want I think what I just want to say is that, like, find your awe. I mean, it's like if awe is not the emotion that you love the most, whatever the emotion is that you love the most, I guarantee you that is your, like, direct connection into the divine. We're not all the same. Awe is not everybody's big gig. Love is some people's big gig. Joy is some people's big gig. Whatever it is, your emotional structure is a compass. And if you need to be really clear about where your north is, because north is the direction that leads you to understanding how to feel how you want to feel. I mean, and having a magical life. Yeah. It's like, have a magical life. So
That's beautiful. And of course, now all the questions are rolling in. And unfortunately, we're going to have to finish. But let me just try and serve the impetus, because it does take a little bit of time. I know there's a time delay in the chat box. There was one lovely one here. Um, how best is it to attract a life partner? From Star Sign Designs, or Star Shine Designs.
So, oh goodness. I mean, it's like when people ask me that question, I sort of like I have a whole thing because I get really into the whole manifesting thing. I have a new book that just dropped in January called Manifesting Your Magical Life. And in that I have a whole chapter on that. And when
Okay,
I was
that's all you have to say.
okay, there you go.
Starshine, did you hear that? Now, look, you can easily find Radleigh on his website with all of his materials, all his courses. There we are, radleighvalentine.com. All of his books, all of the oracles, the tarot. I mean, please go to, now that we finished, go to Radleigh's website, and all of the answers that you wish will be there, because you can bet your bottom dollar you're called in this moment to the uniqueness of what this conversation is all about, because we've already been there. Do you know?
Right.
We're all cosmic travelers in this process. Everybody, thank you so much for coming. It's wonderful having you here. But Radleigh Valentine, it has been so exciting having you on the Deep Dialogues platform. Bless you, my darling. Thank you so much. Namaste, namaste.
Namaste.
We are going to have to finish, everybody. I'm so sorry. But Radleigh, please stay there while we just close down the channels. Bless you. Thank you, Ryan.